Hey there guys, welcome back to Dream Daddy. It's been a little time since I've done this. I mean, I did this yesterday. Of course, that last episode was super interesting and stuff. So, just for a little forward, I guess, we're probably going to do at least a few more Dream Daddy, but the interest in it has really waned. So we may, I doubt we'll finish this. You know, we'll stop off at some point, probably, and yeah, we'll stop off at some point and kind of go from there. So, you know, we'll probably pick up a new game, maybe for Torture Sheepdog. Fuck knows what it's gonna be. So yeah. Anyway, let's get back to this date with Damien. I totally know what's going on. Do you have a favorite horror movie? Of course I have a favorite horror movie. Mine is Halloween Town. Terrifying. Oh, interesting.
Huh.
That's odd. I don't seem to remember Halloween Town being that scary. I would have expected him to bring up some sort of strange foreign horror film that I'd never heard of. Damien's knuckles are turning white. It looks like he's about to rip the armrest off. Wait a second. Damien, are you afraid of horror movies? You must be joking. I love horror movies. The lights dim for the film. The fuck was that? Damien screams. Dot. I apologize. I was thinking about something far scarier than this movie. Which is not scary at all. We settle in as the film starts. I offer Damien some licorice and he takes one. I take note of how much his hands are shaking. Who is voicing this guy? The title flashes across the screen in bloody letters. Vampire Crusade 2, Evil Never Dies. A pale man with long silver hair, glittering red eyes, and well-oiled abs sits up in a coffin. Fuck it. Awaken, my coven. Two more vampires slide the tops off their stone coffins onto the floor. Brother, is it time? Yes, husband, but also mortal enemy. It is time. Fuck me. The three look at each other and then to the camera. For the Vampire Crusade. This rules. The trio of vampires flies off into the night as foreboding organ music plays in the distance. I somehow get lost in the movie. As dumb as it sounded, it's actually a pretty fun flick. We get to a tense moment. What is the sound effects really necessary? They don't add anything. It's just weird. Anyway, we get to a tense moment of the movie where Romulus Trueblood sits at a truce meeting with the general of the human army, whose wife Romulus has fallen in love with. Romulus, it is good to finally meet you. General, I agree. It is good to finally blood you.
Oh my.
Romulus leaps out and slashes the general's throat. Blood splatters over everything, including the camera. Damien screams again, reflexively grasping my hand. I immediately blush, forgetting about any vampires or blood or vampiric blood.
What?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Damien retracts his hand and places it back in his lap. I was writing a novel in my head about blood magic, and I got to an extremely scary section. Damien goes back to quietly stressing out over the movie. It's kind of cute that he won't admit that he's afraid of it. I wish he would hold my hand again. Do I? When did we decide this? Maybe I could do something to make him feel more comfortable. I've got it. I'll do what all dads do best. Talk during the movie. Point out a plot hole. Did you notice how that guard fired seven bullets, but his gun only holds 6 bullets? Yes, that is absolutely unforgivable from a filmmaking standpoint. It's almost unwatchable. It's funny how it's so much easier to point out tiny mistakes in the work of others than it is to go and create your own thing. Huh? Wow, it's almost like the people who made this realised that there'd be criticism levelled at it. Hey, look, that's an anachronism. The rest of the movie goes by relatively smoothly, with only a few whimpers from Damien. Maybe he would have liked the romantic comedy better. We get to the final scene of the movie where Romulus Badblood and the General's wife embrace each other in his crypt. It appears that the true vampiric crusade was the vampire crusade in our hearts, our cold and unbeating hearts. Romulus and the General's wife begin making out hard.
Oh my.
Is that necessary? The film fades to black and the end appears on the screen, but then it hard cuts to Demetrius and his rival lover, Carmela, who watched the two from afar. Oh no, twist ending. Our bloodline has been pure for 1,000 years. Romulus has betrayed us by loving a human woman. It will only be a short time before the next Vampire Crusade 3 Evil Must Die Again. More thunder, more ominous organs. The movie fades out again and a bloody question mark now accompanies the end. Damien and I walk out of the movie theatre amidst throngs of chattering moviegoers. He's a little more pale than I remember, but otherwise he survived the encounter. He even seems kind of invigorated. What an interesting film. While the premise admittedly struck me as pedestrian, I was intrigued by its harrowing love story and great attention to detail in regards to vampiric lore. Yeah, it's pretty good. A lot more vampire titties than I thought there would be. Come, the night is young. Let's take a stroll. Damien is making a point of not telling me where he's taking me. Still, I'm enjoying the walk and the cool night air. Being alone here with Damien is a lot better than being in a crowded theatre. Lovely night, isn't it? As lovely as the company, yes. He thinks I'm lovely. Damn, okay, here comes the smooth response. Cool. Nice. Crushed it. We both stand there feeling a little awkward. I sure am one smooth operator. Are you getting a little hungry? Maybe we could stop off and grab some something to eat. Worry not, friend. I have a plan. We turn the corner and are greeted by the gates of a cemetery. What? Are we going in there? A little bit of Victorian flavour, sheep. Trust me. Okay, now we've got music. Okay. I'm a bit nervous, but Damien hasn't led me wrong yet. I follow his lead as we walk into the cemetery. Statues of angels stare down at us, and we follow a path through the faded tombstones. As we crest a small hill, we get a beautiful view of the city. The night lights sparkle around us. I gotta hand it to him for being in a cemetery. This is strangely romantic. Picnicking in the graveyards is an old Victorian is it? Is it really? I was not aware of that. An appropriate finish to an evening after a vampire movie, wouldn't you say? Oh, goddamn, pardon me. With a flourish, Damien produces a blanket and picnic basket. Wait, where were you hiding that? Under my cloak? Oh, right. Damien unfolds the blanket and we both sit down, gazing out at the city lights. He produces a bottle of red wine and a fine selection of cheeses. In the Victorian era, there were no public art galleries, parks, or botanical gardens to speak of. Once rural graveyards became more popular, alternative to church burials. They became the only place that people could see beautiful plant life and sculptures. That makes sense. This is pretty nice. I have a question, though. How are you okay with being in a graveyard, but you had trouble handling a scary movie? Why did you just scream exactly the same way that you know what? Fuck it, I don't care. I wasn't. He sighs deeply. Okay, yes, I was extremely scared by that movie. I was not writing a book about blood magic in my head. I just have never been good at those. I just feel as if because of how I look and act, people expect me to love horror films, so I must play the part. Truth be told, I don't know if I have the constitution for them at times. Damien, I'm so sorry. If I had known, I would have suggested another movie. It's quite alright. I actually did find myself enjoying this one, thanks to your help. Graveyards, however, I think there's something rather beautiful about death. Cemeteries are traditionally built away from the cities, away from the realm of the living, and it keeps us rather separated from it. To acknowledge death and become... This guy's so fucking boring. And become comfortable with it, I think, gives us a certain intimate knowledge of ourselves. To sit amongst generations of those who came before us, to be truly alive in the midst of so much death, brings me great comfort. Death helps me appreciate life, to savor every second. We sit and enjoy our food and wine. I don't feel scared anymore. Never thought I'd be comfortable sitting alone in a graveyard at night, but I actually feel very peaceful. Suddenly, it doesn't seem like we're alone. Off in the distance, I see a shadowy figure in the trees. What is that? I'm not sure. Why stop screaming? It takes you... Like, even if I was into this, like, story and all this kind of thing, those little stupid fucking screams would take me out of it. I'd just be like, what? Why? What? Huh? It noticed us. I'm paralyzed with fear as it begins lumbering slowly towards us, its shape taking a more animal form, more feral. I look to Damien for help, but he's just as afraid and transfixed as I am. I want to scream, but it's stuck in my throat. The creature is getting closer, moving faster. Woof. Oh. It's a dog. As it finally comes into the light, the friendliest, dumbest little Boston Terrier I've ever seen pulls its owner towards us. The dog trots over to Damien and sniffs at his hands. Damien looks ecstatic. He ruffles the dog's fur happily. What a beautiful dog. We both look up, not expecting to see... Thanks. Robert, what are you doing out here on this lovely evening? Hunting cryptids. What? What? I didn't know you had a dog. This isn't my dog. I found her wandering in the street. I put a leash on her, and now we're walking around this graveyard together. Hunting cryptids. Damien and I share a look. It's the end of the episode. See you in the next one.